Welcome to the Paul Adefarasin podcast. We revisit the word, surface the big ideas, and give you space to reflect, pray, and act. If you'd like the full message, though, you can watch it on YouTube or listen on Spotify after this episode.
Welcome to today's deep dive. I'm your host, and today we are looking at something that might just completely change how you view your entire life.
Yeah, I am really excited to get into this material. I'm the resident expert here, and I've got to say, this one is, well, it's special.
It really is. We were doing a deep dive into a sermon transcript from a Sunday service.
Right.
Specifically, a March 2026 service at House on the Rock, delivered by Pastor Paul.
And I just want to note right off the bat, regardless of your personal background, whether you're religious, secular, whatever.
Yeah, completely.
The psychological and really the philosophical framework he lays out here for personal growth is just incredible.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because the mission today is to figure out why we struggle so much with anxiety and how we fundamentally misunderstand the whole process of success.
Right, because we tend to treat life like a vending machine.
Oh, I love that analogy. Like you put a coin in, press a button, and expect a soda.
Exactly. Do good, get good. But when the machine jams, you panic.
Which brings us to the first big distinction the speaker makes. He draws a hard line between what he calls religion and the kingdom.
Yeah, he defines religion as that exact transactional mindset, performing behaviors just to get a reward.
But the kingdom model is different. It's not about exchanging goods.
No, it's about yielding to a sovereign, operating from inherent authority instead of constantly hustling for scraps.
And to illustrate this, he brings up a marzipan Christmas cake.
Such a great metaphor.
Right. He says, imagine a beautifully marinated fruitcake with a thick layer of marzipan and icing.
So that's pretty good.
But he argues that wanting the benefits of the kingdom without yielding to the king is like scraping off the icing.
Just eating the sugar.
And throwing the actual cake in the trash. It's like demanding a 13th month bonus without actually wanting the job.
What's fascinating here is the mental shift required. To stop chasing the benefits, you have to understand authority.
Right. And he uses the King Charles passport analogy for that.
Yes. So King Charles doesn't actually have a British passport.
Wait, really? He travels without one.
Exactly. Because he is the sovereign, he issues them. The passport is literally a request in his name.
Oh, wow. So when you're in a kingdom, you operate with that inherent authority.
But you don't hustle at the border. You belong there. He also mentions an anecdote about a Dubai royal family member.
Right, where the true sovereignty was super understated. No flashy boasting, just serving the collective.
Exactly. True power is quiet.
But I have to push back a little here. So what does this all mean for you, the listener, who is just trying to pay the electricity bill?
Yeah, it's a really fair question.
Or is like someone hoping to get a promotion at work? How is this not just out-of-touch advice?
Well, the framework isn't saying bills don't matter. It's targeting the source of your anxiety.
Okay, how so?
Anxiety comes from treating your job or the economy as your ultimate sovereign.
Oh, I see. Treating life as a pure transaction.
Exactly. When you shift to an established identity, the job becomes just a channel, not the ultimate source.
Which leads perfectly into our fundamental identity. Pastor Paul argues we act like creatures when we were actually built to be creators.
This part is brilliant. He goes to the Genesis narrative to make a deep psychological point.
Yeah, he points out that creatures like apes, tigers, fish, they were spoken into existence from the earth and water.
Right. They are biologically tied to their environment.
So they just react. They operate purely on instinct and survival. Like, an ape is smart, but it's never going to build an A380 Airbus.
No, it won't. Or a Silicon chip, or massive cities like Chicago and Lagos.
Exactly. But humans, according to the text, were introduced differently.
God introduced himself as a creator, first making time, space, and matter from absolutely nothing.
So since we are made in that image, we aren't meant to just survive. We are meant to take raw materials, like sand or iron ore, and create solutions.
Right. Our highest function isn't survival, it's creation.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Think about what that means for you listening right now.
The power to turn resource into source.
Yes. Taking raw, unrefined chaos and shaping it. Stop acting like a creature reacting to a threat and start actively subduing your environment.
Because if you embrace the creator identity, a problem at work isn't a threat that triggers your fight or flight.
It's just raw material.
Exactly. It's an opportunity to build a system or a solution.
But let's be real, creating constantly sounds exhausting. How do we do this without just burning out?
Well, the source provides a strict blueprint for this, the 3 Ps.
Right. Platform, prerogative, and process.
And the most critical one to focus on here is the prerogative.
The progression of be, do, have.
Yes. It is a sequence that you absolutely cannot cheat.
You can't have before you do, and you can't do before you simply are.
And society hates this. We are constantly pushed to have first.
Oh, totally. Like buying expensive furniture before you even have the mortgage secured. But the speaker gives this amazing analogy.
The one about the Ferrari.
Yeah. He says, imagine you have a 5-year-old grandson. Would you toss him the keys to your new Ferrari to drive to Sainsbury's?
I mean, obviously not.
Right. Not because you don't love him, but because he lacks the maturity.
Oh, yeah.
Giving him the keys would be, as the speaker calls it, a suicide warrant.
It's such a stark image, but it connects directly to the seed and tree metaphor he uses later.
Walk us through that one.
A seed has the genetic potential for an entire orchard, but it can't bear fruit right away. It has to grow roots into the rock first.
So it has to just be in the dark.
Exactly. Roots, then shoots toward the light, then leaves to photosynthesize.
Before it ever gets to the have phase of bearing actual fruit.
Right. It has to mature before it can be fruitful.
So if you're listening to this and you're begging for the Ferrari, like a bigger team, a massive opportunity, a new relationship,
And you haven't taken the time to just be...
you're going to crash. You have to build the foundation first.
But sitting in the dark and growing roots is brutal. And the speaker acknowledges this.
He does. He explicitly says that disruption always follows intentionality.
Disruption always follows intentionality. That is a heavy quote.
It is. The transition from seed to tree is dirty and difficult.
To prove this, he brings up the historical example of Joseph.
Oh, Joseph's story is the perfect example of this disruption.
Right, he has these big dreams, and immediately he's thrown into a pit by his brothers, sold as a slave, works in Potiphar's house for like 8 or 9 years.
Then gets falsely accused and thrown into prison.
Exactly. Before he ever reaches the palace, every single step looked like a burial.
But here is the critical psychological reframe the speaker offers. He says, you were planted, not buried.
Planted, not buried. I love that so much.
It completely changes the narrative.
Think about the difference between an undertaker and a gardener.
Okay, break that down for us.
An undertaker covers a body with dirt, places a heavy stone on top, and walks away expecting absolutely nothing.
It's just the end.
Right. But a gardener covers a seed with dirt, adds manure and fertilizer, and comes back expecting growth.
Expecting a harvest. So for the listener, when people are hurling negativity at you,
Or poo-pooing on you, as the source playfully says.
yeah, when that happens, you have to view it as fertilizer.
It's exactly the nutrient mix your root system needs right now.
Right. It's preparing you to handle the heavy fruit that's coming. It's not a grave, it's a garden.
Because if you don't go through the dirt, your roots stay shallow, and you'll topple over when success comes.
So let's say you push through the dirt, you start to grow. How do you actually maximize your value in the world?
The text outlines 4 distinct levels of value for this in any organization.
Let's run through them. At the bottom, you have labor or implementation.
That's just doing the task without necessarily knowing the big picture.
Right. Then one level up is management, building the systems and procedures.
Making sure the laborers know exactly what to do.
Then the third level is communication, articulating the vision so others can clearly see it.
Which is incredibly valuable, acting as a bridge.
And finally, at the very top is vision, seeing the macro picture and the future.
This raises an important question, though. How does someone actually move from labor up to vision?
Yeah, if you're sitting at a desk doing gate entry, how do you climb that ladder?
The source gives very practical advice here. If you're an implementer, start asking your manager why things are done a certain way.
Just by asking why.
Yes, because by understanding the why, you begin to grasp the vision.
Oh, I see. You shift your brain from just turning a wrench to understanding the blueprint of the whole machine.
Exactly. And the wealthiest, most impactful people are the ones who understand all 4 levels and can aggregate them.
Wow. We have covered a lot of ground today.
We really have. It's a dense framework, so incredibly practical.
Let's quickly recap the journey. First, stop scraping the icing off the cake.
Right. Drop the transactional mindset.
Step into your identity as a creator, rather than just a reacting creature.
Apes don't build airplanes.
Exactly. Respect the order of be, do, have. Don't demand the keys to the Ferrari when you're 5.
And recognize that your current hardships are fertilizers, not a grave.
So to you listening right now, look at the biggest source of anxiety in your life.
Are you trying to drive that Ferrari before you've learned to steer?
Or are you letting the current dirt in your life convinces you that you've been permanently buried?
Which brings up one final thought I want to leave you with today.
Let's hear it.
What if the biggest obstacle on your path today isn't a roadblock at all, but the exact soil required to grow the root system for the very thing you've been asking for?
Man, that is something to mull over. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
Keep growing where you are planted, and we'll catch you next time.
Thank you for listening. To go deeper, watch the full message on YouTube or listen to the full-length sermon on Spotify. Follow the podcast, and please share it with someone who needs it and leave your response in the Q&A. Kindly keep your heart on fire, your eyes on Jesus, knowing you are the exception. Grace and peace. We love you deeply.